PTC implementation, the victims' families, and all those affected by the overspeed derailment. We are now about 10 months away from the December 31st, 2018 statutory deadline for PTC, and recent reports suggest many railroads will not fully implement this safety technology by the end of the year. More alarmingly, a new report from the GAO, which I requested and which will be presented today, finds that 7 to 19 commuter railroads are at risk for not even qualifying for a limited extension to work out software testing and interoperability issues. If railroads do not comply with the law by the year's end, I expect the FRA to take the enforcement action needed to bring railroads into compliance. Railroads should not count on any extensions to the statutory framework that Congress passed in 2015. This includes much of the $199 million that this committee worked to include. Failing to comply with the law is not an option. If commuter railroads do not meet the requirements of the law, there is a real risk of halting or reducing service. If so, millions of people who depend on commuter rail to get to work each day or to visit a doctor or see a family member could see their lives disrupted.
See them succeed. That's our responsibility as a steward of that, of the Northeast.
Yeah. And do you think it's realistic that all that get done in 10 months?
You mean the whole, to meet the deadline?
Mm-hmm.
Our analysis shows that no, that there are, as many as, depending on how you cut the data, as many as half of the railroads may not meet the deadline or have enough time to meet the criteria to qualify for an RSD extension. So I think part of the problem is that some of the railroads have some heavy lifting to do. They haven't begun the second phase, which is really where you have to deal with some of the complexity and time-consuming things.
See as a layer onto the engineer, so it can slow or stop trains, but it is not a...
The railroads that have done those things, on average, it could take them 7 to 10 months. But from FRA's perspective, you're talking about 1 to 3 years. So if these railroads haven't started tackling some of that, the time's running out for them.
We have a responsibility. I think the committee is going to be challenged on how much discretion to give FRA in terms of the implementation deadline, or there may be significant cancellations of sort of necessary transportation. I know you may not want to hear that, but it is the reality of when you listen to all the testimony.
This signal at more than 30 miles an hour, the train would be automatically.
If you're a passenger and you get on a train in America, you need to be PTC compliant or PTC equivalent. I just don't think there's any other way to deal with the risk of single human error. I walked that track the night after the accident, and you see the curve and you see the signs, and it really makes such a compelling case for PTC because we could have avoided it.
Do you believe they've had the time to do that?
I believe we